Hello friends, it's Nancy from Astrology and Angel Mediums today with another weekly check-in reading for Sunday, July 13th through, I'm assuming it'll be Saturday the 19th. So let's see what messages we have in store today for this week and spend a little time just kind of checking in and seeing what is up. I hope the full moon in Capricorn treated you well. I have not been doing anything for the moon phases, which I've just been really busy. So I'm just giving myself grace. I'm one person, right? So let's see what we need to kind of focus on and what this week will bring for us. So for the very first card, we have what we need to know. So we have the Fool. All right. For what we need to do, we have the Ace of Wands reverse. What we need to release, we have the Two of Materials or the Two of Pentacles reverse. And then what we need to contemplate, we have the Two of Wands, which I think is what we had last week. All right, so let's get kind of into what these messages are and kind of see what we need to focus on, I guess, this week and kind of the messages coming through. So the very first card with what we need to know is the Fool. Now, essentially the Fool is a good reminder that we are finally ready to kind of put a lot of our trust in the process and to just kind of go where fate is kind of leading us, to kind of go with a sense of, I guess, like inexperience, but then also like a positive expectancy of what is to come. With this being a major card, it has that kind of reminder of like, hey, you know, we may not always know how things are going to be or exactly what we'll encounter when we get there, but there is this sense of like excitement and a need to kind of open ourselves up to the possibility that things can change, that things can be different, that we don't have to continue experiencing things the way that we have. It's just going to require us to kind of step out of our comfort zone, to step out of a sense of what is familiar. And so there may be some opportunities this week that we need to kind of consider when it comes to what it is that we're trying to do for ourselves. So whether this is like maybe an understanding that we may not always know how things are going to turn out or how things are going to be for us as individuals, we need to have an understanding that in order for us to kind of move that marker forward within our lives, we have to kind of get out there and just have, again, kind of like that positive expectancy, a sense of trust, of taking that leap of faith and just kind of saying like, I understand that maybe not everything is as clear as I want it to be, but I do know that in the lack of clarity, my sense of faith is what is going to lead me into the next thing. And that's going to allow me to really explore the possibilities and opportunities available within this experience. So I think the Fool is a beautiful reminder for us that maybe we don't always know what we're doing, or, you know, we may not always have a clear idea of what that's going to look like, but it is an invitation for us to kind of step into the unknown and have like that beautiful trust that the universe is going to provide us with everything that we need, that every experience is exactly what we're ready to have, even if we feel like we don't always know what that's going to look like. So maybe just be aware of what is coming up for you during this week, like what sort of opportunities are being presented to you, what doors do you need to be walking through, what is it that maybe within yourself, just this I don't know what I don't know, and that's okay. And I can just kind of move into this with the opportunity of it's going to give me exactly what I need. Because if we think of just like the Fool's journey in tarot, it's it's someone that, you know, takes that leap of faith, just kind of sets out and says, you know what, I may not have everything that I need. I may not know everything that I need to know, but I'm just going to try. And I think that's like the biggest lesson with the Fool, is that it's kind of allowing you this opportunity to not have it perfect, to not have it well thought out, to not have it super defined. It's very much about, what is the experience going to teach you? What are you going to gain from the opportunity to kind of step out and do these things? So I know as humans, it's hard. And I'm not saying that it's the easiest thing to kind of just like say, you know what, I'm just going to get out there. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to kind of adjust this because I feel like maybe it's a little crooked. Okay. Hopefully that looks a little bit better. Okay. So with what we need to do, we have the Ace of Wands reverse. Now, the Ace of Wands is one of these cards that I feel is very much about like new vitality and kind of getting out there and like stepping into the unknown. But there's something with it being reversed that maybe we just aren't really truly ready to kind of like step out. You know, as much as like the Fool is kind of like urging us to kind of understand like, hey, there's something here that we need to be aware of that maybe is going to require us to be very open to the possibility of things changing. The Ace of Wands reverse is kind of saying like, this isn't the time to act, if that makes sense. It's more of just like the concept of the Fool. When I think of the aces, I think of them as doors, right? Doors opening, there's opportunities, new beginnings. So we may not have, quote unquote, the new beginning starting right away. I think with this, what we need to do is that maybe it's kind of saying like we need to prepare for it. We need to kind of open ourselves up to the possibility that things are going to change, but they're not changing at the pace that we would want them to, or at such a fast speed that we don't really know what it is that we're opening up to. So I think with what we need to do is maybe we need to kind of take a step back and kind of look at like, well, what does that mean for me? Like, what does it mean for me as an individual to be like, I want something new. I need something that is exciting and that lights me up. When I think of the wands, it's very much this like momentum and movement and passion and drive. And so there is a little bit of this like invitation to kind of say, what am I opening myself up to? What does it mean to me as an individual to like see into the next thing and to have a sense of excitement? I think a lot of us maybe have just been kind of going through the motions and haven't really tuned back in or checked back in with, you know, how do we really feel about things? What is it that's kind of driving us? What is it that makes us feel like a sense of like progress and progression and things kind of moving in the direction of what we want? And I know life is busy. I totally understand. I am currently in that same boat, and I've had to really be more conscious of like how I'm managing my time, where I'm spending my time, what I'm doing with my time. And I think the Ace of Wands reversed here, especially with what we need to do, it's almost saying like, okay, you want all of these things. You have all of these ambitions, you have all of these things that are kind of driving you, that are kind of like lighting you up. But are you making the space in your life for these opportunities to be presented to you, to be open to you? And I think with the Fool, it's almost saying like, there's a lot of things that maybe we have to have a sense of, I don't really know where this is going to lead me. I don't really know what I'm going to do when I get there, but I can be receptive and open to the possibility that things can change and that there are doors that may be opening. So maybe this week it may feel like some stuff is not really falling into place as quickly as you want them to, or there may be some sense that there isn't an opportunity really being presented to you that makes the most sense. But I think with the Ace of Wands reverse, it's essentially kind of a reminder of like tuning back into yourself and kind of checking in with like, what is it that drives you? What is it that motivates you? What is it that maybe in your life right now is lacking a sense of momentum? Like, what can you do to kind of open that road up for yourself in some ways so that it is easier for you to kind of like do what is needed. As you can tell, like with this deck, I love that it's a little bit more of like a witchy kind of representation of the Ace of Wands. I feel like it's very much kind of saying like, what are you doing with your own kind of like spiritual practices? Have you been neglecting your spiritual hygiene? Have you not been doing your spiritual cleansing of your own space and your own self so that these opportunities can be presented to you in a way that really does open that road for you? So I think that this week is kind of saying like what you need to do is kind of tune back in, do your own personal spiritual practices, like cleanse yourself, like, you know, tune back in. Maybe this is an opportunity for you to kind of sit down and like do some of your manifestation practices with yourself, like, you know, sit down and write, journal, like maybe there's some stuff that needs to be kind of like, boom, done, released, so that when the full opportunities do come through, it is easy for you to identify them and it's easy for you to kind of take advantage of that. So I think the universe is kind of telling us like, hey girl, you're out of balance. You're not taking the time to redirect this energy in a way that is of benefit for you. And girl is a gender neutral term. Okay. It's like, bruh, dude, for those of us that are a little bit older. So don't take it like this is only for women or whatever. Okay. So as we move on to what we need to release, we have the Two of Materials or the Two of Pentacles reversed. Again, I think with reverse cards, there's this introspective nature to them. I think that it is a reminder that maybe we need to kind of check back in with ourselves. We need to kind of tune into the internalization of the lessons that come with the upright card. So the Two of Pentacles is typically a card of like balance, of, you know, trying to choose, ensuring that like, you know, we have those two plates essentially kind of still spinning in the air. And materials or the Pentacles suit typically talks about the body. It can talk about our behavior. It can talk about our physical existence, our home, our money, our career. Anything of like the earthly realm is essentially kind of covered with the energy of the Pentacles. And I think with the twos, since they are cards of like choosing, of harmony, of balance, of relationships, of connections, I think it's kind of saying like what we need to release this week is maybe feeling like we always have to maintain everything at 100%. And this is something that I've recently been kind of struggling with, if that makes sense, because I kind of feel like I have to perform at 100% all of the time. So I've had to kind of give myself a lot of grace in other areas, because again, if I'm giving 100% to one thing, that means I have 0% to give to everything else. And just trying to give myself grace that like I'm not always going to be able to give everything in my life 100% as much as I would like to. That's just not how life goes. And I think with the Two of Materials here reversed, and what we need to release is maybe the sense of like having to have it be so perfect and putting so much pressure on ourselves. Because again, the Pentacles or Materials suit does rule over our behavior. So what of our behaviors do we need to also release? Like, what is it within ourselves that maybe we've been kind of hard on our own personal expectations and kind of putting too much pressure on ourselves to be like, I got to get it right. I got to do this. I got to do that. You know, this, that, the other. If I fail, it's going to be like the end of the world. When in actuality, we need to take into account that things fail all of the time. And it may feel like the end of our world in some ways, but in a lot of ways, that is just how life goes. The world is constantly ending for us as individuals, and yet the world still turns, the sun still rises, the sun still sets. We experience a lot of death in a lot of ways, if that makes sense. And I'm not saying death just in like the physicality of it, but death of certain dreams, death of certain goals, death of expectations, and, you know, behaviors and things of that nature. And I think the Two of Pentacles here is kind of saying like, we need to stop putting so much pressure on ourselves to get it right, to do it, you know, perfect, to make the right choices, to have everything feel like it has to look a certain way in order for us to have a sense of success. Because like the Fool is a reminder of, we don't really know how this is going to look. All we can do is kind of go out and have that sense of like excitement over what it is that we're going to be meeting. And the same thing with the Ace of Wands reverse. It's kind of reminding us like, hey, if we're not spiritually aligned with the things that are being presented to us, it's going to make it a lot harder for us to find a sense of balance. Because as much as we may be physical creatures, we're also very spiritual. And so we need to kind of take into account, like, without having that spiritual hygiene down, or having that sense of what we believe in and how we believe, kind of a little bit more defined and rooted and grounded, it's going to make it very challenging for us to kind of look at the opportunities that are being presented to us and choose the right thing. Because when we're exhausted, when we are disconnected, when we feel overwhelmed and stressed and that, this, that, the other, we can't always make the best choice for ourselves as individuals. And I think with the Two of Pentacles reversed here is that we have this reminder that it's hard for us to have things in balance and to know what it is that is going to be the most beneficial thing for us to kind of set the roots down for, if we don't take a step back and kind of say, what does this really mean for me? Or what am I really choosing for myself? And I know sometimes when we're stressed, we just try to make the most, I guess, relevant choice that we feel is going to allow us the most opportunity or the most clarity. But I think with the Two of Pentacles reversed here, we're kind of given an opportunity to kind of say, like, am I truly connected to what's happening here? Or can I look and see what seeds maybe were given to me that I haven't been able to plant yet, that maybe something that is a little bit more established isn't always going to be a better thing for us, if that makes sense. So maybe we have an opportunity to kind of take a step back and kind of look and see, what have I been choosing for myself? Maybe I need to stop trying to make everything fit in this one box, because it's just not going to fit. Now, another two for our last card, excuse me, which is what we need to contemplate. So here we have the Two of Wands, and I'm pretty sure I pulled this card last week. So I think we're still kind of in this energy of trying to figure out, what are we doing? What is our strategy? What is our plan? What is it that we're trying to kind of move into? So with what we need to contemplate, again, this is a very, like, I feel like wands are very spiritual as much as they are about like that quickness, that momentum, that movement. It is very much a reminder that we need to kind of look at what kind of things need to kind of come back into balance. I know I said that way too many times. It's getting on my nerves that I kept saying kind of. But with the Two of Wands, I think it's a reminder that there is something here that we need to tune into within ourselves in order to make the right decision, in order for us to choose what it is that we want, what things need to kind of be harmonized for this to work out. So what we need to contemplate, it's not so much about where the coins or the physicality of things are. Maybe it's more of like, where is your spirit trying to lead you? Like, what is the answer here? And as someone that really struggles with, I'm a Taurus, right? So I have a lot of like earth energy in my astrological chart. And sometimes I really struggle with the physical existence and prioritizing that over the spiritual or the more like emotional things, or things that like make me feel passionate, if that makes sense. I'll be like, I'll just do this because at least like the physical can be taken care of. I think this card is kind of saying like, what is it that spiritually is lighting you up right now? Where is it that your spirit is kind of saying like, hey, this is what needs attention. Hey, this is what we need to do. This is what you need to be focusing on. And this is what like is going to be the thing that really gets things moving. And I think a lot of us forget that because, again, we are in this very physical life a lot of the time, that we tend to forget that we do get to choose how we fill that life and what we fill that life with. And I think that the Two of Wands is just essentially a reminder of like, hey, we need to kind of plan things out. We need to kind of choose, what is it that we really want? in our lives, how can we be a little bit more connected to the things that are fulfilling for us? What feels spiritually aligned with who we are and what we want? So I think the Two of Wands is a nice way to kind of round out this reading for this week. It does seem very much like we are all kind of contemplating like what comes next. Maybe we're wanting to take some risks. We're wanting to kind of move in a slightly different direction than we have been, but we're questioning if like that's the right thing, or maybe we feel a little disconnected from what that will look like long term. And I think that this is like almost saying like it's really about the baby steps. It's not about having it all figured out. It's kind of saying like, okay, I'm going to kind of jump into this thing, and I'm going to trust that the net will appear when I take that leap of faith. And as I do, I need to kind of take some time out to reconnect to myself spiritually, to kind of reconnect to my own personal sense of magic and that kind of internalized compass. Because I think maybe we're a little disconnected from that internalized compass of what is right and what we really need. So I'm going to just pull a card. Let's see, what do we got here? All right, we have this. What do we have? We have a shamanic oracle, which I think I had a deck unboxing yesterday. So I think I can show you guys now. I'm going to show you guys. Let's see what we have. Let's connect to the medicine of the earth at this time. I did not shuffle that very good. Let's see. What do we have? So here we have Alchemist. I shed light on what remained in the shadows. Now this was reversed, so let's look at what that message is with this card reversed. Because again, this is a new deck. I'm not super familiar with it. I haven't really even used it for any kind of reading or anything like that. So let's see. It does not have I thought these had reverse messages. Maybe it's just certain cards, but it's just telling us to journey towards our rebirth, unveiling the hidden magic within our perceived reality. We're talented alchemists, and like dedicated light workers, we kindle love and recognition in the neglected parts of ourselves. Each part of our beings contains a unique and essential message. Offering it the space to express itself and generally embracing it are essential steps in the process of harmonizing our fragmented selves for complete unity and healing. So I think that this is kind of saying like, hey, what are we doing with the things that we have within ourselves? Like, are we integrating the things that are available to us? And maybe this is an opportunity for us to transform, to kind of release the emotions within our physical vessels that are kind of holding us back. And I mean, it is still Cancer season. We do have Leo season starting next week. So we do have, this kind of final push of like, what is it that we've learned? What sort of things are we doing with our emotions? Are we allowing ourselves to really process our emotions and kind of move into this new thing? So maybe we need to kind of look at the places where we have felt judged or rejected or denied or unloved, and turn that into something that feels more powerful for us as individuals, because that's what alchemy is, right? It's taking two disparate, no, that's not the word. Two different elements that maybe don't make the most sense and kind of putting them together to create something new. So I think that this is, I'm saying, like, we need to kind of heal these different aspects, these shadows within ourselves, so that we can really see what needs to be healed, what we're doing with this like beautiful energy that is present for us. And I think that this is just kind of telling us like, hey, we're on the right track, even if it doesn't always feel that way. Really take into account what your soul needs and what makes the most sense for you. So I want to say thank you so much for joining me. I really hope that these weekly check-in readings help you out. I'm hoping in the future I have a little bit more time to do other like pick-a-paw readings and other things of that nature. I do miss doing those, but my time has been a little bit limited. I appreciate you guys being here with me. Please take care, stay safe, and as always, make good choices. Bye.